Interesting stories. Interesting people. Welcome to the Humble Badger Podcast.
Thank you for listening to this podcast today. Remember to like and follow us at The Humble Badger on Twitter and Facebook, or at The Humble Badger Podcast on Instagram. And this episode is brought to you with the help of our promotional partners at Falsha Irish Pub at 201 City Center Drive, and $4 Jameson shots all day, every day. And my name is Pablo Das, and I am your host for this episode. We always start off with some kind of random fact, but you know what? I'm not sure I'm going to necessarily do that. I will give you one, though. Brampton. Brampton is one of the largest cities in Ontario. And did you know it was known as the Flower City? That's the nickname for Brampton, the Flower City. Now, I don't recall Brampton having all kinds of flowery gardens and whatnot, but that's apparently their nickname. It's, I guess, better than what Mississauga is doing, because Mississauga doesn't even have a nickname for its own city. Now, I'm wondering, how important is a nickname to the development of a city, whether it's about tourism or about attracting people into it? I'd like to know what my co-host thinks of that. Paul?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your homeboy, The Identity Crisis, your guest host this week. I am a rapper, singer, producer, and filmmaker, and sometimes co-host. Now,
Sometimes.
my take on nicknames is, I think it's a cool way to get people to remember the name of the city.
That's true. And
You know what I
Mississauga
mean?
doesn't have one.
We don't, eh? I mean, like an unofficial name is Saga,
Well, Saga's...
but it's not like a
that's kind of
nickname. I don't
Well,
know.
I know that I know someone, our guest, who's actually quite familiar with both Brampton and Mississauga. We'll get his take on it, and we'll have him introduce himself.
Yo, what's up? It's Azfar, man. I'm a comedian, entertainer, MC, got my own podcast, a modern day Muslim podcast. And yeah, I just about do everything that I can get people attention, I guess.
And on that note, what do you make of the lack of nickname for Mississauga, and do you think Brampton's nickname actually enhances its status?
Mississauga does have a nickname. You're incorrect. It's called Better Than Brampton. But that doesn't mean much, so who cares? Right? It's as simple as that. I don't know about the Flower City thing. I know that because I see signs there, but maybe it's better than known for butter chicken and lassi. Like, I don't know.
Well, it was known for butter chicken and lassi, and that was
It still is.
It still is, actually.
That's
Who are we
what it
kidding?
will be. known
It
for.
still is.
It's also
still
known
is.
for its high insurance rates.
Yes,
for
it's got-
driving.
Yeah, I
got
didn't
the
want to
highest.
go there, Paul.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go there. I had to take an Uber here because I couldn't afford it.
Fair enough.
Because you
My
gotta-
car. It's
Uber apparently is cheaper.
to take an Uber than drive a car.
Fair enough.
Here.
Fair enough.
The insurance has gone up. Jagmeet Singh, you promised me lower insurance rates.
Jagmeet Singh specifically, he promised lower
That's
insurance.
all he could have said other stuff about human rights and racism, but I was like,
I
where's
think
the
he
car
did.
insurance? Yeah, but we're just talking about Brampton. He said car insurance.
Hey, he just
Got
got
my attention.
Well, it is a concern, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a
So-
huge concern.
Azfar, you are a comedian, and you name some of the places that, like some of the clubs and such that you've performed at. And what was, after you do that, please also state, what is the weirdest place that you've performed at?
Right here is the weirdest. So yeah, there's a badger here.
Yes.
But yeah, so I've performed at all the clubs here. Absolute,
Mhm.
Yuck Yucks. I performed in theaters, the Queen Elizabeth Theater, and it's hard, man. Paul's
Playing with the
that
badger.
Sorry, you brought attention
Stop playing
to
with
it.
the badger.
Leave it alone.
Leave the badger alone, Paul.
And by the way, it's a puppet. It's
Yes.
not even real. If people don't know, they might get confused.
That
right?
is
There's
true. They might think there's an
animal
act-
rights
So you might
violation.
think, you're saying that there are members of the audience who might think that there is a live badger in the studio.
Well, I'm talking to one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There could be one that's with Paul. I don't know. The confusion is there.
There's
So
one in
I
my
want to
pants.
ask you a question as a professional comedian. What
Wow.
do you think is the biggest misconception a member of the general public has about stand-up comedy and stand-up comedians?
I think that they think that we have to be funny all the time.
Mhm.
So I don't really tell people that I'm a comedian
Mhm.
just because then the expectation is everything you say has to be funny
Yeah.
or has to have a reaction.
Yeah.
You know, like even when you're saying something that's sympathetic, they think maybe it's sarcasm. Or if you just make a general observation, like you're watching basketball and you're like, the Raptors suck, and they're like, that's not funny. And you're like, well, that's just a fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just that expectation because as a comedian, there's so many different sides,
Mhm.
right? You know, there's other things that we do where we kind of get our material, and sometimes we're just having general conversation,
Mhm.
and it doesn't have to lead to laughter. And if it does, for me, it's more out of natural conversation than me trying to be funny.
Mhm.
I don't come in with like a shtick or a routine when I'm talking to someone like, hey, did you hear the one about the badger?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, what about the badger?
He
It
just
got
made
hum-
that up on the spot.
It
by
just
the
got
way.
humbled. And I'm like, oh, it's copyright. Pablo's already got that. How about you get the arrogant badger?
That's right. Thank you for
Right.
defending our copyright.
Yeah,
But no,
I don't even know if this is copyrighted.
on that note, that what you're saying,
should've.
and it all relates, Brampton comedians, you know, and the expectation to be funny. I had one of my cousins actually a long time ago, years ago, went out on a date with a comedian, and I remember that, you know, she came back and she was disappointed that she's like, well, he wasn't very funny. I'm like, well, do you do what you do at work every time, you know, that you're out? It's weird.
But see, the thing is, what's even harder for me is like, say I go on a date. What if that person doesn't take me seriously?
Right.
Like
right.
that's the other thing, the perception. Like when I go for a job interview,
Mhm.
I can't be cracking jokes left, right, and center. And I don't share that because it would be
Mhm.
like, oh, is this guy gonna take his work seriously?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm here to make money, not to be funny.
Mhm.
Or even like, I've been looking to get, you know, settle down, get
Mhm.
married, and find someone.
Mhm.
And one of my friends was like, hey man, why don't you try that arranged marriage route? And I go, hey man, why don't I talk to you anymore? Right? I don't need bad advice. I've already gotten it all my whole life. I'm
That's
South
right.
Asian.
That's right. There's a lot of pressure to.
So then he's like, listen, you know what you can do? When you go over and say you're talking to the father of the daughter that they want to present to you, just be like, hey, I'm a comedian. And then I would be like, and then he'd be like, yo, did you hear the one about the guy who came to talk to my daughter across the street? I'm like, no. He's like, well, no, get out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, that's
For
not
sure.
going to work.
No, 100%. And do you think that, because it used to be that you could make sort of fun commentary or funny commentary with a hint of sarcasm, and I think that people have lost the ability to tell what is sarcastic and what isn't.
Yeah, or like you know, all the big comedians talk about it. Like our society's too politically correct.
Mm-hmm.
They might get offended about anything,
Mhm.
right? And you can't share what you really want to say, so you got to kind of have to cover it up.
Mhm.
You know what's interesting about comedy, I find, because I've done a lot of Muslim shows.
Mhm.
I say things that they want to say, but they won't say it because they're scared of how they're going to be judged. And when
Right.
I say it, they don't laugh because they're scared that they're going to be judged.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's the thing, like a comedian does, or any type of artist, like a musician, a comedian, they're pushing that limit.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying things that people want to hear, and then other people will look around and they'll be like, oh man, I can't say that. You know what I mean? Like I've been to shows
Mhm.
where I've said something and it's funny,
Mhm.
but then the audience members look around and they're like, well, I gotta get out of here alive.
Right.
All right. Or my wife, I still want to be married to her. And the wife is like, I don't want to be married to this.
To be fair, we don't know what he said, and I'm not sure he can repeat it on the podcast, but nevertheless.
No, like it wasn't anything offensive. It's just
Yeah.
like, you know, like other people aren't laughing.
Yeah.
They just feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
No, but I do understand what you mean. I've done stand-up comedy in the past, and it is that expectation that you are supposed to be funny, and then they expect you to be funny all the time.
And what I said to reference you, I was just talking about race,
Mhm.
but this was a small town up north in
Mhm.
Toronto, and there was a lot of white people.
Mhm.
And I made a race joke, and they just didn't laugh because they didn't know if they were allowed to laugh.
Yeah, they were
And I
allowed to
told them, I
laugh,
go,
yeah.
if you don't laugh, you're racist. And then they started laughing a lot. I go, now you're racist because you're laughing at that. You understand? It's a catch-22.
It's like what
You people.
Yeah, exactly.
You people. I can't get over that Don Cherry
Yeah,
stuff.
the you
It's a
people
little
thing.
bit.
Yeah,
My
for
God.
sure.
How about everybody's? Let's blame everyone, Don.
So, you, I'm referring to Paul here,
don't
also
say
wanted
people.
to do some stand-up comedy, you know.
Yeah, stand-up comedy is something I've always kind of like admired.
Mhm.
I'm a musician. When I perform, I'm behind a guitar or a keyboard or a band. I have that to hide behind.
Mhm.
When you're a comedian, you have a microphone sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You know what I
Sometimes.
mean?
I've
been
Sometimes
in-
you don't even have a microphone.
I've been in gigs.
Yeah.
This is the craziest. You asked me for a weird one. I went to a golf country club. I was excited. I'm like, wow, this is a great opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, there's going to be money. There's going to be people there. It's going to be a good crowd. I go there and I was told that I have to perform actually around a dinner table, and there was no mic. So it's like I was whispering. I was like a funny waiter. I was like, hey, man, how's that going? And they're like, what are you doing? And I go, can I take your order? And then they started laughing. And I'm like, what am I doing? And there was other people eating. It's like if I go to Denny's and I just start telling jokes to Pablo, right? He's having his eggs and bacon. And I'm like, did you hear about the guy who didn't want bacon? He's like, who's that? I'm like, me, because I'm Muslim. He's like, get out of here. Get out of here. I just want to have breakfast. It's my birthday. It's a free meal.
He doesn't know me at all. I'd never be at Denny's. But
it's too high class for Pablo.
That's right. That's right.
Tim Hortons parking lot. So, he's a badger or a raccoon, whatever, bro. He's out of the dumpster.
So what does Azfar like to do for fun?
You know what I like to do for fun? It's I'm really health conscious, so I love to work out.
Oh, really?
I like to try different workouts and stuff. So I go on Instagram. This is weird. Even though I'm an artist, I'm not on social media that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would say I'm non-existent with my 380 followers. I'm not bragging because I have a nephew who's 15. He has one post for the whole year, and he has triple the amount of followers for me.
Yeah, but that's not fair because all of the people he
You're
goes
right.
to school
Life isn't fair, Pablo.
No,
it isn't.
But all the people he goes to school with follow him. That doesn't count. Those guys are all like in high school students. That's not the same as your 380. Your 380 is earned.
It's a numbers game. That's all I know. They could all be fake.
Speaking of numbers game, I think it's time for rapid fire. What do you think?
Do it. Yeah.
You know how this works? We're going to ask you a question.
I actually don't. Not yet.
Okay, you're going to ask you a question. You're going to say the first thing that pops into your head. Hopefully it's not offensive.
Well, it's up to Paul here.
You can also say pass, and then
if I pass, that means it's too
it's best that you pass if you do. Okay, go ahead.
You ready?
Pass.
Name a word that starts with the letter Q.
Oh man, I gotta pass. It was gonna be offensive. It was gonna be really offensive.
I know exactly what he was gonna say.
I'm trying. We're catering to all communities, right? I cannot say that.
All right. Okay.
Quentin.
Yes, Quentin. Not really a word, more of a name.
Yeah, well, what can you want me to say the other word? Quest? Come on, you're a rapper. A Tribe Called Quest.
My favorite rap group of all time.
Is it seriously?
Yeah.
A war
That's
tour.
your favorite rap group of all time?
100%.
Why not the Dream Warriors? Do you wash your
The
face
Dream Warriors?
Do you? I like your boom boom down. Snow.
Oh, Snow. Yes. Yes.
Let's not even talk about Drake now.
At what age do you want to retire?
Now.
I
want to retire when I first learned about retirement. That's how lazy I was. I was like, well, is this a job? I'll apply for it now. What age do you guys want to retire at?
I'd probably say
tomorrow.
No. I'd say I'd get bored if I couldn't work. So
no, but I still would be doing things when I retire.
No, but see, I don't know.
You weren't specific there.
Yeah, I guess not. These are rapid fire questions. So speaking of which,
don't say K. Don't say K, bro. Don't give me hard letters.
Say a word in Spanish.
Hola, senor.
All right.
Hola, senor. I don't know. That was kind of cool.
That was 2 words. That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
Antonio, Dora the Explorer taught me something.
That's right.
Antonio, Dora the Explorer.
How long does it take you to get ready?
Are we talking about in the morning?
Yeah.
Is this some kind of marriage material question? It's very.
All those arranged marriage proposals want to know how long it takes you.
You don't want to know, man. It's too long.
It takes too long?
No, it's an hour and a half.
Hour and a half? It takes you an hour and a half?
Because I do meditation. I do like a workout.
Okay, you're talking about the whole thing. You're talking about the whole thing. I guess. Yeah, you're right. The question isn't specific.
Yeah. Once again.
Yeah.
Start with a letter Q.
What is your favorite city in Canada besides the one that you live in?
Brampton.
Are you trying to imply that you don't live in Brampton?
No, I don't. I'm Mississauga.
He wants to openly declare he does not live in Brampton.
Lakeshore
and Catra. Oh yeah.
No. It would be Muskoka.
Yeah.
Because when I first came to Canada with my family, we lived there, and I went there last weekend. It's just people in smaller towns are nicer.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
You came here from the UK, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry, this is my English accent. It wasn't good.
No, I was talking to Azfar.
Good.
Yeah.
Not good.
All right, and the last question for rapid fire. What's for dinner tonight?
What? Are you coming to my house or something?
If it's good, I will.
Okay, it's gonna be probably kale, chicken, and brown rice.
Seriously?
Yeah, man. I try and eat really clean.
Oh, nice.
Who am I kidding? It's butter chicken and rice.
Yeah. That sounds good too, though.
Yeah.
Actually, the kale doesn't sound too bad either. Azfar, I know you're a basketball fan, so for the trivia portion, we are going to ask you some questions about the Toronto Raptors.
Oh, man.
It's not about what you know, it's about what we can learn. Are you ready?
Okay. Wow. I became a sportscaster all
That's
of a
right.
sudden.
Can you tell me the name of the Raptors' first ever first-round draft choice?
Damon Stoudemire? Number 20? Oh, point guard.
Hey, even got the number. How about that? Well done. Well done.
Mighty Mouse.
Oh, that's right.
Hold on, let's do one of these.
Hit the bell. Hit the bell.
He's going to high-five the Badger.
Yeah, hit the bell with the.
Oh, the Badger.
It's
You're
bleeding.
destroying the
Badger's bleeding. He was
Badger.
in a UFC fight with Conor McGregor.
Oh
The
man,
notorious.
40-second knockout.
Oh, my God.
So,
Extraordinary.
name the first Raptor to win the slam dunk contest.
Vince Carter.
There you
Oh.
go. And if you didn't know
Air
that,
Canada.
there you know that. So I want to thank you for coming on. If you want to follow him, you can follow him at Azfar Says on Twitter and Instagram. And he is a comedian available for hire. And if you're single, you can also reach out to him because he is looking for marriage proposals.
Podcast arranged marriage.
That's
They're the
right.
best.
Podcast means marriage. That's exactly what it means. I'd also like to thank my co-host, Paul Castro, a.k.a. The Identity Crisis.
Thank you for having me,
And
sir.
we would like to thank our promotional partners at Falsha Irish Pub. Remember, $4 Jameson shots all day, every day. If your organization is interested in sponsorship or promotional partnerships, please contact us. For any inquiries from anyone, please visit thehumblebadger.com for contact information or send us a message through social media. Now, thank you for tuning in. My name is Pablo Dawson. I'm signing off from the set here at Trax Ahead Recording Studio. Wherever you are and whatever you do, remember to follow your passion.
Thank you for tuning in to the Humble Badger podcast. For more information, please visit thehumblebadger.com. The Humble Badger podcast is produced by the Pablo Dawson Company. Context matters. See you next time.